Hello, Oracles. I apologize for that delay. We had some emergencies at work, some very important things I needed to attend to. Had to go see the police. So hopefully from here, things will be okay and safe. So yeah, that's how my that's how my year's been going. So welcome. But you know what? It was great to see Tesla running the way it did today. Getting the news we got this morning, and forgive me, I need to catch up on everything that happened. But um, big thing, big thing that we saw this morning was the change with the IRX EV tax credit. So if you guys who did not see it, the IRS changed the Model Y 5 seat to have a cap threshold of $80,000 now. Very awesome. And with that said, I promptly went and ordered my Model Y again. So, um, you guys who have been following me for a while know that I have my Model Y on order for the longest time, and they extended it twice. And I actually noticed that 2 weeks ago they did finally cancel it. But I ended up getting it back ordered today. And it was nice because I wanted the blue anyway instead of the dark gray. So I ordered it in the blue. And so that one I'm waiting for it. So I've got to go through all the information. I haven't had a chance um, to go and check all that stuff out. But awesome day today. Karav, let me see what we got here. I just hopped on. Yeah, up 2%. So we closed at 189. Let me get this going here for you guys. I have this capability now. I'm so good. There we go. Closing at 189.98, pushing up almost 2% after hours. Karav, you're saying it was after hours, that's why it's pushing up, but we knew this information earlier this morning. Sith Lord, don't you worry. I was late as well. So you're actually only 2 minutes late. So don't you worry about that. It has been a day. So we knew this information before. What else is making it pop after hours? I couldn't imagine it's going to be the EV tax credit because we knew that this morning. Interesting. I wonder what else is going on. Let us check the Twitter sphere. How else is everybody's day going? Because I know mine has been a delight. All right. We're just going to share this. We're going to go through. Let's check out Twitter together. Let's do that. Did anybody else see on Twitter? If anybody is having the concerns of Twitter not being able to have money and Elon having to sell later on to help keep Twitter afloat, Twitter right now is already going to be paying content creators based upon ads that show in replies. So I think you have to have 10,000 followers. I do not know the details on it. I know previously that's what the requirements were 10,000 followers to be monetized. So I don't know if that still pertains to it now, but I know that's something I am going to be looking into as well. Because why not? If it's going to be the same thing that I can have conversations with you guys and talk about Tesla all day long and have like Twitter have Elon. I'll take some of Elon's money. Cool, sure, I'll take that. Thank you. As long as it doesn't have to sell any more shares. We don't want him to sell more shares to pay us out. But let me see here. Let's jump onto Twitter. There we go. Let's see what we got in the Twitter universe right now. All right. Legal system maintain. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if you guys know. Well, let me get this out of the way of the comments so I can see what you're saying. Yeah, if you guys happen to know. Oh, Elon won the court case. Okay, there it is. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. So, and just for you guys who know, when it comes to that court case, at worst case scenario, he was going to have to pay a fine. So here it is. Yeah, breaking. Elon wins trial, not liable for trial over 2018. Tweets proposing to take Tesla private. The 9-person jury said the investors who brought the class action case failed to prove that Mr. Musk hurt them by tweeting about a possible deal. Awesome. Well, that answers that question. That is good to know. So that is why we are seeing the stock running after hours. And I got to say, one of the things, and some people call me, a jerk for it, but you got to own your stuff, man. And just like we saw recently with Elon selling stock, the stock price coming down, people getting so mad at Elon, you got to take ownership of your investment. It's all on you. Elon didn't make you sell. Elon didn't make you buy. Elon and didn't make you do anything. Nobody made the decisions for you other than you. And that's truly what it is. So if you're selling when the stock is low because you're afraid of something or because Elon tweeted something, that's on you. We saw that happen with Lee, and it stinks. Lee, he had his video that just came out. If you guys haven't seen it, he breaks down the whole reasoning. He panic sold. He said it himself. He panic sold. And that's it. You got to take ownership of it. So he owned it. He panic sold. He's the one who made that decision. That's it. And that's got to come down to it. If you're going to be pointing fingers at everyone else for your own decision, that's going to cause you problems throughout your entire life. So, all right, enough of that rant. Sorry, I've had drama today. I'm just letting it out. I forgot to pour myself wine. Sorry, I need some of that. Let me see. Not guilty. Not guilty. Awesome. So, anyways, yeah. So now, is anybody else out there? Did anybody else place an order for a Tesla today? Because I got myself a nice long-range blue Model Y. Very excited. Looks like the delivery date is going to be between March and May. So I will have some time to get that all gathered up together. And this time I think I'm actually going to be taking delivery. I don't know if I can delay it, but I've worked out enough things. I still don't own a house yet. I kind of wanted to have that, but I've worked out enough plans where I can make it happen. So as soon as I get it, I will be posting plenty of videos for you guys. And also, if you guys don't follow me I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, of course. If you guys are on any other social media platforms, and I put out different kinds of content there as well. And as soon as I get my Tesla, I'm going to be posting regular videos. I'm going to try to do some like little how-to stuff. I know a lot of people already know it, but it's something I'm going to be learning, so I'll be excited about it. So I'll be able to share my excitement with little tips and tricks that I get from the Model Y. So pretty excited over that. Brooke, I feel like Lee has lost a bit of faith in Tesla and its future. It's funny you say that. I don't think so much as that. There was quite a few bulls, obviously, that we saw through November and December that kind of changed their tune quite a bit. But if you noticed who these people were, it was, Gary Black aside, it was a little bit different, but most of the people who went through that were super uber bulls. And it was all of a sudden like that light went off and that shroud dropped of, Tesla's invincible, Tesla's indestructible. And all of a sudden they realized, ooh, it's not indestructible. And they went from one end of the spectrum to the other. And now they're kind of trying to find that balance again. I think that's really what it was. Most of us who are kind of in the middle of, Tesla's awesome. We're super bullish on Tesla, but there's other factors involved. It's not invincible. There's other things that can cause the stock to move one way or another. Most of those people perfectly fine. And most of those people, like you guys, were ones who were buying or holding during the times it was coming down. Meanwhile, we had other people who kind of flipped that switch. And I think Lee was just an extreme example of what happened, just because he was so bullish. So I don't think he's lost faith in Tesla's future as much as he's just kind of toned down and brought it more to a realistic standpoint. I still think it's going to be awesome. I still think a lot of the things that Lee was speaking about previously are still going to come to fruition. But because he got scared, he kind of saw the other end of the spectrum a little bit more. Nice. Scott, I purchased a Blue Performance Model Y today right after I found out about the tax credit change. Same, man. I love it. I love it. I'm so excited to get it. My friend Tony has a blue one. I didn't want to have the same color as him, but he lives on the other side of my state. So I'm like, I like the blue. I want it. I've always had like a dark gray car, something boring. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with the blue. I really like that. I like how it sharp it is. I wish we could get that silver. Oh my God. The midnight silver that they have over in Germany. Whoa, that would be awesome. But maybe I'll get a wrap on it. I'm probably going to get it wrapped, and I'll probably do something. Maybe I'll do the matte finish on it. I don't know. We'll see. What do you guys think? I'm kind of open to suggestions on that. I like the wrap look and I like the normal look. I'm good either way, but I am going to get it wrapped either way just to protect it. Brooke, where did it go? I had a question from Brooke here. Do you think Tesla will be able to ramp the 4680 cell production this year? And thoughts on the next gen vehicle platform? 4680s, I think, are going to be, as they said, more of a focus next year in 2024. So they're going to ramp it up this year. And I think their focus this year is to be able to get it to a ramp and figure out the math that they need for how many batteries they want for all the production that they want to put them into. And then the focus next year will be obviously Cybertruck having enough for that because you don't want to slow down that production and then everything else. So I think we're going to see probably ramping up 4680s later in the second half of this year. They'll have those ready to go for all the vehicles and then any storage if they're going to use it in the storage units. And then next year in 2024, we're really going to see that volume production for both the 4680 and the Cybertruck. When it comes to the next gen vehicle platform, I love connecting the dots. I've got to reach out to him and see if I can have him on here. I loved his take on when it comes to Project Highland and how the next generation platform isn't so much about a specific vehicle as much as it is about a production. What's the word? A type of production. So, because if they're going to do production where it's going to cost 50% less to make vehicles, so if they're going to have that way of producing vehicles, I think that is really what the next generation platform is going to be, is just their production style. And I think that's the massive piece that we're going to see in the next gen platform. And I think what's going to end up happening is it's going to be this type of production that they're going to start with the Model 3 with Project Highland and say, hey, this is how, or it's kind of like a test, and they're going to make that happen. And then they're really going to go volume wide with it when it comes to that lower priced vehicle. Because obviously, if they're trying to cut costs and they want to bring the price of vehicles down, that would make the logical step. Here's the Model 3. We're going to test it out. It's working. Now we're going to go full ramp model volume production on a lower priced vehicle with this new generation platform. And then I think they're going to inevitably get all of their vehicles over to it. So they'll probably do it on the Y. They're going to do it. I don't know if they'll do it on the S, X, and Cybertruck. I think they will eventually do that because it's going to be cutting costs on every single one of their vehicles. So I think we're going to see that. And I think that's what we're going to be hearing about on Investor Day. And they probably talk about Project Highland. And then I don't know if they're going to mention the lower priced vehicle, but I have a strong feeling that's what it's going to play into. Bill, get white and wrap it in some outrageous color. I've thought about that. So for you guys who don't know, for all of my racing, bright neon yellow was always my color. I would dress shorts, shirt, socks, everything bright neon. And for me, it's because I didn't go out to win races. I was more out there to encourage others to get through it. There's a lot of people who try these races to challenge themselves. And I wanted to be that beacon of hope, literal beacon of hope with a bright neon yellow. And so that's why I wore the colors. So I did contemplate getting the white vehicle and have it wrapped in bright neon. But maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do it with the Cybertruck. No, I can't do that. But yeah, that was my thought. And if I do have a plan in the future, if I ever get to it, having my own fleet of robo-taxis. And if I do, they will be bright neon yellow. So if you guys ever need to take a robo-taxi somewhere and it's bright neon yellow, you can know it's mine. Alan, is it possible for Tesla to just deliver the car with the undercoat and allow the customer to have it painted themselves? I don't think so because I believe, and I don't know for sure, but I would imagine like when it comes to other vehicles, it's because of warranty issues. So like you couldn't warranty certain things like the paint obviously is warranted. Different things are going to be warranted on it. So I don't know if that would affect anything else by not having them paint it. I could be wrong, but that would be my best guess on that. Yeah, the dark cherry was awesome too. I was just, I love that silver. The silver because it wasn't just a plain light gray. It had that sharp pop to it. It was so nice. Yeah, Karav says once all 4680 lines at Texas are running, the ramp will accelerate dramatically. So for you guys who don't know, there's 4680 lines in Texas right now. Only one of them is producing. So they're producing enough 4680s for what they currently need, and that's with just one line. So once they get the other three lines going, it's game on, and they're going to have so many. And don't forget, they're still going to get some from Panasonic and anybody else who's producing 4680s as well. Let me see here. Jersey guy, have you taken any profits on Tesla? I have not. So, to be completely open and disclose everything transparently, I have sold zero in my main portfolio. I've still been adding $25 a day. I did sell two. Only had two shares of Google, so I sold those off at a $20 loss. Things came out, they fell. I didn't know if they were going to rebound. Didn't want to take any chances, and I don't even know where they're at now. I saw them rebounding over the course of the day. Um, so I sold those out, $20 loss, not a big deal. And I saved that in cash. I still think that we are going to pull back at some point, and we could pull back significantly. This weekend, I will be going over all of the gaps. I'm going to make kind of a generic gap video for everyone so you guys can reference it in the future. But I will go over all of the gaps we see for Tesla up and down. And since there's so many down below us, I do think that we are going to pull down and fill some of those. It's just the year we're going to have this year. This year is going to be wild. We can see some insane swings happening. That's how, realistically, it's going to be a sideways market. If you look at beginning of this year to end of this year, we may not see much of a difference if you look at just those 2 points. But during the course of the year, we can see some massive swings like we've already seen. And that's how a lot of these people who are all in the market make their money. They make money swinging it up and down. Options obviously are a huge thing that are going on. And the Tesla options market is massive right now. So that there is a reason why I think we're going to see a lot of swinging this year. That's what I'm going to try to do in my IRA. So in my IRA, I did put in a stop for 3 shares at 3%. Kind of as we crossed that 160 level, I started it there. So I've sold 3 at 155. I sold 3 at 175. I got stopped out of 3 more around the 190 mark. And I just put in another stop for 3% of 3 more when we hit the 198 level today. So I don't even know if that's sold. I haven't even had a chance to check yet. But I have buys in now for those 3 shares back at 125. So I'm anticipating, not financial advice, I'm anticipating that we will pull back down to that 125 level at least, because we have that gap at 122. So I'll buy 3 in there, and I'm just going to watch as we're coming down for whatever we're coming down for, and I'll put in buys accordingly. Now, based upon my sales, I'm actually upside down $1,100 in those shares because I did make a mistake. I should have sold the shares that I just bought recently to make the profits on them. I did it wrong, my mistake, and I ended up selling the ones that I bought previously for a super high price. I plan on making that money back by buying more shares and lowering my cost basis. I'm not too concerned. I just have to mentally play that game in math and say, all right, I've got about $1,200 I need to make up for. So that's where I'm at there. So that's what I'm doing in my IRA, but I am not selling at all in my main portfolio. Let me see. Yeah, Grescott. Yeah, the connecting the dots video. Yeah, that's something, and I referenced it the other day. Definitely highly recommend watching that, guys. If you have not seen the connecting the dots video on Project Highland, definitely do it. Makes a lot of great points. Great video. Oh, May Musk. Man, that's like the highlight of my Twitter career right now is when May liked one of my tweets. It was awesome. Let me see. Data. Do you think Tesla should enter the boat/yacht business? They can make self-powering within boat yacht itself with solar. What do you think? This is something we actually talked about previously when Elon had teased, their product lineup and everything, and having their own cargo ships. Now, when it comes to the motors, there's obviously bigger things involved, but the fact that it's a giant flat ship in the middle of the ocean with tons of sunlight coming in. So easily powered by solar. They can have mega packs on this thing to store that power. So it's just a matter of coming up with the motors that they need to be able to drive the ship. But I think that's definitely something we will see in the future when it comes to at least cargo ships. Whether they do yachts and other things, if they can do a cargo ship, they can definitely do a yacht and other boats. I think it's on the radar. I think it's something we may potentially see. Probably not till the end of the decade, but I think it's something we could definitely see. Let's see. Sith Lord, wrap it in green Oracle investments, tiny blue with white lettering, rear side. Major tax benefits, not financial advice. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have my logo and stuff on the back window for Kling. I've got to shout out the channel and all of you guys on there as well. So I'll definitely have that on there. Yeah, green's you're really tempting me. I've already got my order in on blue though. I don't know if I can wrap the blue with green. We'll see. I'll see what I can do with that. But sounds like a good idea. Uh, William, any further news on Tesla Thailand? Nothing that I've heard recently. They're up and running there, so I don't know any other news. My biggest thoughts over there were really the charging network, and it sounds like they've got the charging network doing fairly well over there. I believe when we had on Fa Sky, she was telling us about that. And I know that there's major power issues in Thailand, but it sounds like the areas that they have these, they're doing very well with the chargers. Let me see. Grescott, I have an order to buy 500 shares at 105 now, and I'm hoping it will dip just enough to get my cost basis down. Yeah, my cost basis is now down to 228, and every day I buy, it's going to drop it a little bit more. Problem is, when I'm buying $25 a day at $190, it doesn't buy me the same amount of shares as it did when it was $100. So I don't mean to be greedy, but I do want it to drop down so I can buy more for a lot less. There's still people thinking that we could be coming down to $60 this year. Looking at it realistically, Elon himself says the market can act very irrationally during economic times like this. Still warning about not going into margin. We have no idea what the market's going to do. If we climbed up, now we're up 90% in the last month in Tesla. All of a sudden, this thing could drop down, and if it goes to $60, we're losing significant, gain. Was a 60% loss. So this could happen. We could come down to 60, bounce there, and then start to climb back up again. Maybe we get back to 150 again, then pull back down again. We can see some wild swings this year. So just buckle up, Buttercup. And that's actually, I got to get that. I have that merch available in my store. Buckle up, Buttercup. I got to get one for myself, and I can show you guys on here. I got to update my store for that. If you guys want one, check it out. Let me see. Karav, Giga Berlin had paused production this week for maintenance. All right. I mean, and you guys have to remember too, maintenance is totally normal. It's actually good. A lot of times when they do maintenance on things, it's there because they're going to be improving production afterwards. As we saw it in Shanghai, it's a good thing. Oh, here's a good one. Dominic, do you think Tesla will do wind turbines because Elon keeps talking about them? I've been hearing a lot of people talking about Tesla doing wind turbines. I mean, they do solar, and Elon keeps saying that solar and wind are the way to go. Makes sense. I personally don't know enough about the wind turbines to know what it takes for production on them. But seeing as what Tesla has done with everything else, I would imagine it's right in their wheelhouse and they can make it happen. Mr. Mo, Tesla is a giant disruptor on wheels capable of anything. And you know what? It's going to be disrupting more than things on just wheels. That's for sure. Let me see. HK Tesla surging post market. Yeah, we were discussing that earlier. That is Elon won the court case. War in Taiwan will bring Tesla below 100. So that's actually a good point. I was seeing on the news today that I think it was Montana, there was a Chinese surveillance balloon that was noticed. So that could be raising some tensions, and who knows, we're going to have China, Taiwan, US war tensions coming out. That could be that random black swan event that ends up dropping the stock price way down. Because at this point here, we're like, it's all positive catalysts. Even the economy going the way it's going seems like we're moving in the right direction. Doesn't seem like there's any real reason that we could potentially fall from 190 to $60. What could potentially cause something like that? Well, yep. Yeah, exactly. Karav. China said they accidentally sent it over to the US. So that could certainly be the thing that causes us to drop down significantly. And you have to remember that when it comes to things like this, we saw it with Ukraine and Russia. Thinking about the Ukraine-Russia war and the uncertainty behind it is what drove the stock market down. Once we knew that they were going to war, the stock market rebounded. When you look at history and you look at the stock market, every time we've gone to war, it's been the same thing. The uncertainty about whether you're going to go to war or not is what drives the stock market prices down. When you actually know and get the answers, the stock market rallies. So we may be getting a lot of this just discussions about, this potential war and this tension going on over there. That could be what drives us down. William, is nuclear completely out of the question for Tesla? Man, it's so tough because we know Elon is such a proponent for it, but I think there's way too much involved for him to get into that. Getting into lithium refining is one thing, but getting into the nuclear, I don't know if they're going to do that. I mean, who knows? Maybe they will, but I think Elon is perfectly fine. He's already said himself that solar by itself could be enough to power the world. Obviously, there's some areas that you would want wind, like you go to, northern Norway. The wind up there is amazing to get energy, and you're not going to get the same sunlight. So you'd rather go with wind. So I don't think nuclear is necessary, but nuclear would certainly help. Let me see. Data, how close Lucid when compared to Tesla? Do you think the recent rumors on Lucid is true? What rumors are you talking about? I know that we heard rumors recently about Saudi Arabia buying out basically Lucid and owning it themselves. I think that is a viable thing, but I also think that Elon has a close relationship with the Saudis also. So whether they're going to make something to compete with Tesla or make something that's going to kind of partner with Tesla, I don't know that. But I know the Saudis, and this is one of the bigger picture things that I look at, is clearly Saudi Arabia, huge on oil. That's where they get the majority of their money, oil. But they've been investing in a lot of other areas now. Like we've seen them buying WWE. Soccer has been huge investments that they've been making. They're investing in electric vehicles. Talking with Peggy, he's over in Kuwait saying that, going over to Dubai, there is a ton of Teslas over there and they're really pushing EVs. Very strange for a place that really runs on oil. So this is kind of telling me that this is the swan song for oil. We saw that Exxon last year made the most profits of any company in Western civilization history ever. Madness. But I think that they were doing this because they see that this is going to be the end of the line for the massive profits in oil. So they're trying to make these investments now. They've made their profits. They're taking those profits and reinvesting them in other areas. They're not reinvesting it back into oil. So thinking about yourself, if you are invested in a stock that you feel is going to be disrupted and going out of business, you're going to get out of that stock with those profits and put that money into something that's up and coming. Saudi Arabia is just doing this on a much grander scale. And so just paying attention to what they're doing there says, all right, this is coming. Don't know when it's coming for sure, but it's coming because they're investing their money there. Tesla, Bob, you move your car, get shot again. No, but actually, it was, it was potentially very serious. What's going on? So, like, all jokes aside, there's a reason I went to the police. Normally, I would have just brushed it aside, but I had to go to the police because I needed to protect myself and my guys at my job. So, even if it was something that was just to scare me, it's enough. It was enough for me to go and take care of it. Jack, all stocks would fall, not just Tesla. True, yes, yeah. So if we have something like the tensions going on, it's going to be the entire market's going to come down. This is why another reason why I cleared out of my Google, because I have a feeling everything is going to pull down. And again, not financial advice, and I have to say it all the time, but I do. CDs right now, or whatever country you guys are in, if there is someplace you can put your money, like we've got CDs, there's treasury bonds you can buy, something that's going to guarantee you a return of, right now in the US, you can get a 1-month CD for 4%. You can get longer ones for like 4.5%. So if you put your money into that, if you don't need it, put your cash there, because your cash in a savings account is going to get you nothing. You put your cash in a CD and get 4 to 4.5%. That's something. If you want to try to swing trade, by all means, have at it. Very risky, but this is a market where I think you can make quite a bit of money doing just that, doing swing trading. But again, you can also lose a lot of money if you're on the wrong end of it. So I'm going to try it in my IRA and I'll let you guys know how it goes. But otherwise, if you're looking for something steady and consistent and, no no emotional attachment to things, I would recommend CDs. Let me see. Raymond can China then accidentally bring it back to China. Oh, you guys are so funny. This is one of the things I love about you guys, especially on a Friday after a long week. Man, this week was hell for me. And I apologize to all you guys. I have not responded to comments very well like I used to. We've been having inventory in all of our branches. Monday night, I got home at 1:30, had to get up at 4 to go back to work the next morning. I've been burned out, so I apologize. I will try my best to get all your comments over the weekend, and some of them will be dated, so answers will have already been had. But I thank you for your patience on that. Uh, with having a small car, do you think Tesla will rule every category in 2024? I don't know if it'll be 2024 because I think they're going to release the lower priced vehicle in 2024. So they probably won't get to volume production until 2025. So I think in 2025, we can see Model Y will have the SUV type category. Model 3 may have the sedan. Model 3 is going to be tougher depending on what they do with pricing. The compact car will most likely be dominating, and the Cybertruck could be dominating the truck space. So I think very, very much so that in 2025, perhaps we can see Tesla leading in at least four categories. And thank you, Mike. Always, Mike, with that smashing that like button. You're my favorite man. I love that. Smash that like button. Dominic Webb. Under or over 40%, Tesla will announce they will get into VR before the end of this decade. I don't know. I mean, they'd be at this point right now, I mean, it's possible though, because it's AI. And we've got Google and Meta that we know are both working on that. I know Apple's working on it also. I can't disclose that information I have because my friend who works there says he cannot confirm nor deny every time I ask him questions about it. But they are working on stuff also. So there's three monsters that are working on these things at the moment. So whether Tesla gets into it themselves or not, I'm not sure. But obviously, going along with AI, it's totally possible. Actually, what would it be? Ooh, just thought about that. What Tesla could do, is getting that driving experience. Like, hey, you want to test drive your vehicle before you go out there, and they could do a virtual reality test drive before you go out there. It's actually not bad. They could probably have like training, because I mean, right now they've got online training stuff, but if they could do virtual reality training, that's actually something that could happen. Small car. Yep, I caught you on that one. Just want to make sure I gave you some info on that. So the smaller car, I think when it comes out is going to be a compact car. I think, and I remember I was talking to Brian from my Tesla weekend. I think every factory that has one is going to have kind of their own variation of it, sort of like Berlin has their own colors. I think we're going to see their own variations. So I think the German model coming out of Berlin would end up being like a hatchback, sort of like the Golf that's over there, which is a very popular vehicle. So I think that's what they're going to have over there. May see something similar in China, but I think the vehicle that we're going to get here in the US and maybe in China is sort of like a Honda Civic or a Nissan Sentra type version of vehicle. So whereas the Model 3, I guess you can compare the Model 3 to like a Toyota Camry. So if you go to Toyota Corolla, that would be the lower priced vehicle. I think that's what we are going to end up seeing out of this is just that it's going to be less frills. Maybe somebody did have a concept that I saw over in China. Looks like it was like 160 miles of range. That's probably what we'll end up seeing is something like that. You're going to have it's not going to be a longer drive vehicle. You're going to have your little, hey, I'm just using this for my commuter to work. That's it. I don't travel far. Maybe I live in a small state like here I am in Connecticut. Might be something like that. So yeah, I think that could be potentially what we see from this vehicle. Yeah, Saudis on diversification mode. They sure are. And these are the things I pay attention to. And other things too, when you're looking at, hey, how do I need to invest? How do I invest? Especially for newer investors, what should I invest my money in? How should I invest? Play it super simple. take a look at what big money is doing. I mean, what is Warren Buffett doing? What are these institutions doing? Most institutions and Warren Buffett are sitting on a boatload of cash. These people know what they're doing. They've been investing for a long time. They have made a ton of money for a reason, and this is that reason. So if you just basically follow what big money is doing, you're going to be successful. Look at it from a big picture standpoint. Most of them are not swing trading. Again, you can make a lot of money swing trading, but you can also lose a lot of money swing trading. Very difficult, very risky, more like playing a casino and gambling rather than investing. To each their own. Some people do it, they do very well. But if you're looking for long-term investing, look at what they're doing on the big money side of things. Looking at the fact that when you're looking at a long stretched out period of time, I had Adam on here and we were discussing generational wealth. Generations basically 30 years. Every 30 years, typically people have children. Within that 30 years, you can have a cycle of 3 different markets where you can buy during a bear market. Historically, we get these bear markets like we're in right now, roughly every 10 years. They say fortunes are born during those bear markets. When we get that massive pullback, people, big money, Warren Buffett, they're saving up their cash. We get this pullback. They wait till we start to see that recovery. They start putting their money back in. They're not timing the bottom perfectly. They're just timing the bottom roughly. And they're DCAing during that bottom time. And then they just DCA on the way up. And then they just kind of hold and let it go. And then you build your money up as those stocks grow. If you follow the fundamentals, if things start to go awry, maybe you sell out of one, move into another, and you just follow that cycle up. And then you get to that next 10-year cycle. We get a recession like we're going to be in soon, maybe. You get into one of these times, you sell out a good chunk on the top, you get yourself up a good stockpile of cash, and you sit and wait. Now, they don't sell out of everything. They still have a lot of their stocks, but now these stocks have matured for 5 to 10 years. So they have a very low cost basis. So, the stock market would have to pull down significantly in order for them to go negative. So like anybody who's a Tesla stockholder who's been in for, 8 years, they're still in the green. Even when we pull down to 100, you're still significantly in the green. So this is what they do. This is why long-term investing is so beneficial. Oh, Gross Scott. I'm looking forward to the Tesla van. Would make a great work vehicle and also a great van for life vehicle. Yes, the canoe van. Very much on board with this. One of my friends just started her van life, and she's got, I don't know if she has a Sprinter or what she's got. But that's basically what I'm looking for. If Tesla comes out with their version of that and the Cybervan is like a Sprinter, that is what I am going to buy and live in. That is my ultimate goal. Other than my castle in Italy. Alan, her GM and Toyota are collaborating on an engine that runs on moose poop. Yeah, but they would have to produce that in Canada, and I don't know if Canada would go for that. We'd have to see. Yeah, the hydrogen thing, man. I don't know. I just don't. I don't grasp the technology. It's hard enough to update the electric infrastructure that we have right now because it's so old and dated. But at least the infrastructure is there, and we just need to update it. Having to go in and completely create a whole new hydrogen infrastructure, I don't know, man. That does not sound realistic to me. Ooh. Sith Lord, any guesses on March 1st? Any curveball surprises? I don't know. I mean, every time they do an event, they come out with information that really is, to most people, out in left field. But those of us who've been paying attention understand this is like, hey, we're looking out 5 to 10 years. We're not looking out to next year. So there's a lot of stuff that goes over people's heads. So whether that's going to be a curveball or not, I don't know. But I don't think we're going to get a lot. I thought at first we were actually going to see the Gen 3 platform. I think we're just going to see designs of it. I don't even know if they have a prototype for the Gen 3 platform that we're going to see. But I think we're going to hear enough about it. We might see something about Optimus. I mean, we haven't heard, much about Optimus in a while. So maybe we hear about Optimus. And then the fact that they're talking about their future, kind of the roadmap that they're on. I think we may hear about Master Plan Part 3, I think is going to play into Investor Day significantly. U.S. Postal Service new EV looks designed by a 5-year-old. Oh my god, I remember seeing that picture. It was just terrible. Like, who was thinking what when they came up with this? Uh, let's see what else we got going on. Oh man, and I'm hungry too. I don't know if I'm going to be on for long tonight, guys, but thank you for being here. You guys rock. You guys are the best. Um, see if we got anything new popping on Twitter here. Any new info? Oh, come on. There we go. No, Elon touting the jury, thanking the jury for getting him by. Yeah, so it looks like that. So anybody who hopped on late and you're wondering why the stock is up after hours, it's because Elon won the court case. Oh, you know what? That's actually something else I wanted to point out too. I meant to mention it the other day in one of my videos. There was a fire in, I can't remember, Sacramento, somewhere in California. There was a fire for a Tesla, and the fire department made a big news article about it. And somebody had tweeted and responded with, do you only ever post about Tesla fires or other car fires?" And the response was, they post things that are out there for what people want to see and are curious about. And because EVs are a new technology and it's something that the fire department is having to learn how to, address now as well, it's something that's, a learning curve for a lot of different people. And they had to use 6,000 gallons of water, which is more than they would normally use for a house fire. So because of that, they wanted to address it. But this is something that we have to remember is just because we hear about a Tesla fire in the news and that's the only fires we really hear about does not mean that that's the only thing that's catching fire. It's just that this is something new that people are now paying attention to. And it's new education. It's that new shiny thing that people are paying attention to. Car fires are happening all the time for internal combustion engine vehicles. I mean, that's the name of the vehicle, combustion. It is on fire internally. Sometimes that fire goes externally. It happens. And just because they have learned, and I'm sure when car fires first started 120 years ago, fire departments back then had to learn a new way of putting out those fires. We're just going through something very similar now, and people talk about it more because, again, it's something new. And people are like, "Ooh, what is this? It's new. I don't know about it." So when you guys see that, those are the little things that could create FUD, which really aren't FUD. It's just new education, and people don't know. Marty, Megapack Factory has me stoked. I know, man, that the picture that they have, the design of the factory when Nevada's going to be all laid out. So between that and semis, something like, gosh, I want to get more stats on the semi and more pricing on that. But man, that's something like, because of the Cybertruck and the 4680s and the Megapacks, it's like the semi is like just going to be this underlying awesomeness that so many people just don't even think about. Let me see here. Yeah, Marty. EVs are 7 times less likely to catch fire. This is true. So while you're going to hear about them more prevalently in the news, they're a lot less likely to catch fire. William, what does deployed mean, please? How is this different from bought and installed? um, that's a great question. And I know that we were talking about it with Alexandra, trying to determine, and if you guys know, please let me know. Um, Tesla cannot recognize the revenue from their mega packs until they're actually plugged into the grid. So you can go out there and they could put up 10,000 mega packs in a field, but if they're not plugged into the grid, they cannot recognize that revenue. Sort of similar to FSD, where they can have FSD in the vehicles, but if they have not achieved the level that they wanted to achieve it, which they now have going wide release, but if they before then they couldn't recognize it because they hadn't achieved the level that they wanted to achieve. Now they feel they can recognize that revenue. Similar thing with the mega packs until it's actually power is achieved, they cannot recognize that revenue. So I do not know when it comes to deployed versus bought and installed. So bought, they purchased it, I would imagine. Installed is installed it. Then I think deployed would mean it's actually plugged into the grid and ready to go. I honestly don't know, so don't take that as fact, but that is what makes the most logical sense to me. Dominic, I can't wait to see Tesla's competitors, if you can call them that, use semi or van to ship their equipment. Mic drop moment. So true. Could you just imagine 2027 and GM and Toyota, after they have merged, are now trying to deliver their vehicles that have Tesla FSD in them with Tesla semis? Oh, the irony. Oh my God, that would be awesome. Let me see. David Hudson, do you think Cybertruck will come out this year? It's going to come out this year. But I think what's going to end up happening is I thought we would see first deliveries rolling out in July. We've been seeing that beta production vehicle driving around recently. So I don't think we're going to see first real production vehicles coming out till probably August, maybe September. But ramp is going to be slow. We remember how slow Berlin was with the Model Ys. I think Cybertruck is going to be very similar. So I think the first probably 3 to 4 months of production for the Cybertruck going to be pretty lame. I think I'm gonna keep my excitement toned down quite a bit for the ramp on that. So whereas I thought we might see 25,000 by the end of this year, might be 10,000. But going into 2024, as we saw with the Model Y, it ramped up pretty quickly after that. So I think that's what we're going to get to in 2024 is that more major volume production. But we will see the Cybertruck out this year. So we will see some in the wild by the end of the year. Felipe, do you believe, like last year, the $400 price target by 2023? My current price target for the end of this year is $207. That is strictly based on the fact that I think we are going to get into a deeper recession. So if the macro economy does fine, then I think we're going to be higher than that. So that is my super conservative number of 207, strictly based on more macro environment related stuff. But I think the longer we stay depressed, the faster we'll end up recovering. So if we end up finishing this year at 207, but we hit volume production on 4680s, Cybertruck, they announced the compact car in 2024, and then God forbid, and man, if they solve FSD, then forget about it. It's just going to take off from there. So 400, I think, is possible by the end of this year, but I think it's going to be heavily macro related, or if they solve FSD by then. But again, the term solving FSD is kind of misleading because I don't think it's ever going to be fully solved. It's more of that march of nines. So once they get to the point where they've proven that you do not need to worry about disengagements, the car can definitely drive better on its own than a human can drive, then I think that is what we can consider solved. So from there, I think that's it. And then from there, they would just continue to improve it. Oh, here we go. Gruscott. Deployed is similar to provisioning and telecommunications. A phone is not a phone until it's powered and given a phone number. Exactly. Perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. Karav. I actually think Cybertruck will ramp faster than the Y. I think you're right on that. And I'm actually curious if the Cybertruck is going to use that next gen platform. Really don't know. I would imagine they would at this point. It would make sense that they would do that. But I don't know. How about a video showing a Pepsi EV semi strongly overtaking Coke semi in a steep incline? And you've got to have Warren Buffett screaming from the driver's seat. That would be awesome. Let me see. Sorry, I'm reading through some of these comments here. Yes, I can't wait to see the first Cybertruck crossing the Lake or River. Have you guys been seeing those videos of the Model Ys just driving through deep water? Obviously, don't not recommended. It does void warranty for anybody who is questioning that. So it does. But one of the reasons, I apologize to my friend back in the late '90s when we were in college. He had a Dodge Neon. We drove through an underpass during a heavy, heavy tropical storm, and I literally floated it to the other side because the car was so light. When you're looking at Teslas, because of the battery, it's very bottom heavy. So you're not going to be floating. You're actually going to be driving. Obviously, if the water is deep enough, you will float, but chances are you're going to stay down. So because of the fact that it's sealed so well, the water doesn't get in to ruin it. So this is exactly what's happening and what we're going to see with the Cybertruck. So yeah, crossing that lake or river, I'm looking forward to that too. Let me see. Michael Anthony, I say no recession, and if there is a recession, will be because tech companies are the only companies that are laying off people. We have heard of some banks doing it as well, but yeah, it's been mostly tech companies that have been laying people off. And sometimes it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. You hear about sales going down, they start laying people off. But we did get the jobs report, the non-farm payroll that came in today, blowing numbers out of the water, over 500,000 jobs. That's huge. That's a lot of people. And you know, being in retail management myself right now, trying to find help is not easy. So the fact that a lot more people are going out to take jobs right now is a great sign. So this softish landing is totally possible. Maybe we don't actually get a recession. It's so hard to tell at this point. I just truly don't know. Sometimes part of me wonders if they're trying to cause it, but we'll just have to wait and see. If we don't get it, that's awesome. Yep, Ark Invest has $1,500 target by 2025 on the premise of robotaxi deployed in 2024. They have a $1,700 price target for 2027. I think that one is more realistic. That's still way over where mine is at. No, granted, my price targets, if you guys haven't seen the video, are very conservative. They are a lot more on the just automotive side of things. I don't factor in a lot of energy, don't factor in robotaxis much. FSD getting solved, I have some in there, mostly on the software revenue side of things. So very conservative. So if any of those things do come to fruition before 2027, I think $1,700 is totally possible. But yeah, 1,500 by 2024. Not to say it can't, or by 2025. Not to say it can't happen. If they do get the robotaxi in 2024, that's what Elon said. We know his timelines are sometimes off, but that's what they come out with. Maybe we'll learn more about that robotaxi and during Investor Day. Model 3 is not waterproof. A mouse got in and built a nest in my compartment. Sorry about that, Raymond. That does stink. Uh, David Hudson, do you think Tesla will be bigger than Apple by 2030? Depending on what Apple comes out with over the next decade, if they're continuing on their growth trajectory that they have right now, I think Tesla will overtake Apple by 2027. That would be my guess. But if Apple comes out with something VR, AI related that really helps them kind of like bump themselves up again, then it may be 2030. But because of the fact that Tesla's going to have automotive, energy, and AI, those three pieces right there by 2030, I think are really going to take off. And then the software with FSD obviously is going to be huge. William, get me some aftermarket floaties from a dadgum Cybertruck. Damn, man, they should make cyber floaties. That would be awesome. Elon would be totally on board with that. I'm going to tweet him that, see if he can do it. Let me see. Dominic, did you see the job hiring for January today? Way overestimated. Yeah. The estimation was 185, came in at 517. Huge. That was monstrous beat. Where'd we go here? Marty, Tesla needs to put a semi-factory in Asia. Addressable market there is closer to 250K per year. Is it really? I did not know. I mean, obviously, I would imagine China's got a semi trucks that are going to bring things, but they also have trains over there too. I did not know that. That's actually a great idea. I didn't even think about that. Yes, would definitely greatly help with pollution for sure over there. And I think that's probably a huge reason why China is pushing so heavily for EVs. Like everybody says, China doesn't care about the environment, this and that. Look at all the pollution they're creating. This is true, but they're also the country that is leading with EVs right now. Tesla obviously is monstrous, and they're the ones leading in the US. But when you're looking at country specific leadership, it's China. So I mean, good on them for doing it. Hey, Prescott, I get to retire at a price target of 1,700. I get to retire in style in 2,200. Well, I mean, I think I've got 2,200. God, I can't remember my price targets right now, but 2,200 was definitely later in the decade, somewhere around the 2030 mark. Let's see what else we got going on here. So much good stuff. Tesla Energy. Oh, Connecting the Dots came out with another video about energy. I'm gonna have to check that one out. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through Twitter. I'm not even showing you guys on here. Let me do that. Let me show you guys what we got on Twitter here. My Twitter feed. All right. There's a few people I haven't had a guest on in a while. I've been so busy at work, so I'm going to be looking at trying to get some new guests on here. If you guys have any recommendations, again, I'm going to try to get Connecting the Dots on here. Dylan Loomis, I'm going to try to get on here. Matt Pokius, I might try to get on here. Let me see. So here, Kathy Wood says if she was given $1 million and was forced to pick one stock and hold it for 10 years, it would be Tesla. Yep, she believes the stock can reach $1,500 in the next 5 years. That's what you guys said. So, yeah. Yep. I mean, I think it's going to be awesome for those of us who are taking advantage of these prices now. And again, I have no idea what the future brings, but I have a feeling 2023 is going to see the lowest prices in Tesla stock that we will see ever again. We'll have its ups and downs, but I don't think whatever low we hit this year, whether it's 101 or below that, I don't think we're ever going to see those prices come down to that low again. Jay Lizard, great show. Thank you. I appreciate that, sir. And I know you've been sending me a lot of it. Jay, I have not gotten to your email that you sent me. It's been a wild week. You sent me an email. You sent me a message over on Twitter. I apologize. I will get to those hopefully this weekend. Michael Mahoney, when do you think we'll hit $1,000? Currently, based upon my extremely conservative price targets, I have 1,000 coming around 2026. Because I think that's what we're going to see between 2025 and 2026. I think we're going to see the next split. Let me see. Priyohan, did you see Emmett is getting negative to options? He said it can hurt a lot of people. He made his own fortune from options. So when it comes to options, the options themselves are not bad, but that's what swings the price so much more than everything else. Many more people play options with Tesla than most other stocks. A bigger problem that you get when it comes to the options market are the people who use margin to do so, because you're like, margin is like options on crack. And it's like, I have this awesome way of making money. And how can I juice that up? Like, here's my steroids to make that even stronger. But it can easily go in the opposite direction. So you're losing, when you go into margin, you're losing money you don't even have. So when we see massive crashes like we saw at the end of last year, there's people potentially losing money they didn't even have. So that's why we came down so hard. Jay Lizard, we need to talk about the fiasco that just went on in the richest guy in India. They lost $100 billion in a week. Well, I mean, Elon lost a lot too, but and it was almost a week. But was that the one that Hindenburg called out? I can't remember if that was the one. I know he was talking about somebody, was it Aldani or whatever it is, something like that. I can't remember. I just heard something about that, but yeah. Michael Anthony, Tesla could hit $145 easy. And has anyone noticed insiders never buy shares, but always selling shares? One piece you have to remember is most of the insiders, like guys on the board and everything like that, they're all on giant compensation packages. Nothing like Elon has, and Elon did hit his final 2 tranches, so he'll be recognizing those, soon as well. But when you're paid with a lot of the options like that, these guys have option packages where they can recognize these things at like 14 bucks a share. So cheap. So they get them. But if you notice, they don't always sell all of them. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they're not selling them all. So while they're not going out and actively purchasing shares, they are still accumulating more shares. So one thing to pay attention to when you see Form 4 filings is pay attention to where their final is. So it always does the math on all the shares. Are like they sold this many shares. They now currently have this amount. Track over time how many shares they have, because a lot of times they have more. Like when Elon was selling December of 2021, everybody was, giving him crap for selling his shares. But for people who were paying attention, you realize that at the end of all of his selling, he actually had more shares than when he started selling. And that was because he was just selling to pay off the taxes. So he actually ended up with more shares. And that's a lot of how they're working with these insiders is they end up having more shares at the end of the day because of their options packages. Let me see. Jack Johnson, if you think it will get down to 100 again, would you sell all your Roth shares now and buy back then, or don't want to take that chance? I won't take that chance. For me, that's why I'm doing it with stop losses, little bits at a time. And if for some reason I get the indication that we're not going to fall down, I'll just buy back in. But that's the way I DCA. So I had 22 shares, and I did three, 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 and I'm kind of doing 3 increments, and I won't sell more than half. So I will always keep half of my shares. And then as we come down, I'll buy more in as we trickle down. If we don't trickle down, I'll just dump it all back in. It's just so hard with the market that we're in right now to confidently do that. So either way, I think I'm going to DCA either as we're falling, or if I think we're coming out, I'll DCA on the way back up. I do still think that we are going to fall. I just don't know. It's so hard to tell. So I don't want to take that chance. Jay Lizard. Yes, Aldana. That's right. Yep, they did get busted at Hindenburg. Good, good, good. Yeah, and Hindenburg, they're not always accurate. Sometimes they throw out some fudge stories that, intentionally, because they're hedging on the way down, they're shorting things, but sometimes they get it right. Michael Anthony, he will start selling shares again since shares are up because he said he needed cash. Well, he didn't say he needed cash, and he said he won't sell in 2023, but I have a feeling 2024 or 2025 he'll sell again, but he might do so at that point because if he recognizes his options in 2024, he'll have to pay taxes on those, so he'd have to sell to pay those taxes. That's my only guess on that one. Let's see. Ooh, this is a good one. Dominic Webb, do you think Tesla will get into construction farming equipment? I had somebody on here a while back said they worked for, I can't remember what company it was, but they said in their engineering and design room, their engineers were getting blueprints from Tesla for like skid steers and excavators and backhoes and things like that. So I don't know if that was because Tesla wants to do it themselves. I mean, Elon keeps on telling us that they've got the most exciting product roadmap of any company that's out there. So if they're going to be doing stuff like that, I wouldn't put it past them. And I've got some inside rumors that are saying these things. I haven't heard anything else to confirm any of it at all. Let me see. Charles Boyer, why would BlackRock load their boat if it's going to $60? Um, so you have to remember BlackRock didn't really load the boat. They did add for sure, but they added at a time where Tesla was like 110 bucks. And they went from I think it was 5.4% to 5.7%. So loading up there at 110 bucks, That's a fine place to load. For large institutions who are dollar cost averaging, they typically do it at the end of a quarter. That was at the end of the quarter. Stock price was down. They loaded up. So nobody knows, even BlackRock does not know where the stock price is going to go. But if it does go down to 60, having them in at 110 really isn't all that bad. Um, they can still obviously buy plenty more below that. Maybe they sell out before then. Maybe they're selling out right now and we don't know it. Obviously the stock price doesn't reflect it, but we may end up seeing, maybe we get those rumors wherever FUD comes out, causing the stock price to come down. BlackRock then sells out a ton of their stuff. Maybe they drop back down to 5.2 to 5.3% holdings, have that cash, and then buy back in at 60. They can swing like that. They can certainly do it. So loading the boat for them at 110 made a lot of sense because maybe it doesn't come down below that. Or maybe they were anticipating this run and they're, like I said, maybe they're going to be selling now. Who knows? But that would be why. Steven, why would it go back to 100 again? Again, we talked about it before. Potentially rumors about China US tensions, things going on. It's always the craziest things. I've talked about it before too. When we look at, why did the stock price come down? It's the most random things. Like we see Tesla running, Hertz news, great Q3 earnings, stock is going to the moon. Then out of the blue, Elon's like, I'm going to sell. Stock price takes a tumble. Then all of a sudden the Ukraine-Russia war, stock price tumbles more. Like it's the craziest thing in following the charts that right around the times you're like, oh, we're due for a sell-off, but it doesn't seem like we feel like we should be getting a sell-off. Why would we get a sell-off? Then bam, this random black swan event comes out of nowhere, gives us that massive sell-off. It's like you could throw your tinfoil hat on and say somebody's manipulating this on a very high level, or it's just the weirdest coincidences. I truly don't know. But that's one of the reasons why it could go back to 100. Some totally random thing can come out. Maybe us going into a recession. Maybe somebody comes out with earnings. We get bad GDP data. Fed decides that they're going to raise rates too high. I don't know. Lots of different things that can come out and cause it. Let's see. Dominic, the construction equipment could also be used for SpaceX. It's actually a great point because if they had that equipment, they could bring it up to Mars, and that could be their excavating equipment for Mars. Very interesting. Oh, yeah, and there it is, Marty. Hey, look at that. Could be used for Mars base too. Perfect. We're on the same page here. I love it. Let me see. Do you think on investment day we'll get more information about robo-taxis? I do think we will. I think they're going to unveil some of that, and I actually am curious if that's going to be the Gen 3 platform that is used with that also. Raymond Chen, Tesla can go below 100 when they hire Gordon Johnson as CEO. Could you just imagine? Like, I don't want to imagine, but wow. Yeah, Michael Anthony. The data this morning gives the Fed more reasons to raise 50 to 75 from the job data, why the market sold off today. So again, and this is one of those days where Tesla kind of moved in the opposite direction of the market. Obviously, we got some great information from Tesla about the IRS, the EV tax credit, things like that. So that's one of the reasons Tesla outperformed. But when you start looking at the disconnect there in the opposite direction, we already saw Tesla disconnect going further down than it should have and how quickly it snapped back up. When Tesla's running higher than the market is and disconnected in that way, it can snap back as well. So, this is just one of the reasons why I have been putting in those stop limits in my IRA just to protect myself. But again, with the Fed going up, if the Fed decides 50 basis point hike in March, that could be a massive reason for the stock market to sell off. Let me see. Kathleen, what is the average amount of shares retail investors hold? Not millionaires. No, I'd actually be curious to hear about what other company has more retail millionaires than Tesla, or just who has the most. I don't even know. maybe Apple's one of them, could totally be, because Apple, maybe FANG stockholders as retail investors could have the most millionaires. But I think Tesla is inevitably going to have the most in the future. Uh, but yeah, they don't hold millions of shares. Definitely not. Very, very little guys. Like man, right now, last I heard, I think is like institutional holding is like 46%. And I think retail is below that now. This is Mr. Tongman. Do you think Tesla will raise Model Y price now that it qualifies for 80,000 SUV EV incentive? Appreciate your work. Thank you, Mr. Tongman. I appreciate that. I do. I do think that they will raise it up. That's one of the reasons why I put my order in today. So seeing as obviously they dropped it down below the threshold and sales went way up. Now, even with the stock, or even with the price going up $500, we saw that, sales are still going. They still cannot keep up with the amount of orders that are coming in. And so that's why I ordered mine, because now with the EV tax credit getting lifted like it did, that gives Tesla more leeway. So if they end up getting higher demand, they can push the vehicle back up to $58,000 to squash some of that demand, because they don't have to worry about that EV tax credit level anymore. So I do think that they're going to go back up. And again, that's the reason why I put my order in today, because I have a feeling, whereas before, if they didn't change it, I think they were going to have to come down another $3,000, at least on the Model 3s, maybe on the Model Y Performance. Now, they can leave it as is. They might not even have to move the Model 3 prices. Although they might have to do a little bit for the Performance if they want it, because that still does not qualify. Michael Anthony, just watch, and I have a strong feeling markets overbought and sellers will be selling. I agree. Again, not to be bearish anybody, but short and in the near term, we're going to see a lot of fluctuations, and I think we're due for a sell-off. How much of a sell-off it's going to be, I don't know. Oh yeah, good point. Microsoft is another one that has a lot of retail millionaires. I'm probably gonna hop off in a minute here to go grab myself some dinner, but you guys have made my week as always, so thank you so much. Dominic, that Model Y price increase could hurt the stock. Not if they utilize it for demand purposes, because if we go back to where we saw it back in 2020 and 2021 when they were going up on their prices, obviously they gave them a giant massive balloon when it came to margins. Now don't forget, they're already anticipating cost of their vehicles coming down over the course of this year. So if the cost of vehicles comes down and they have the luxury of going back up on prices, that means we could have even more we could have even higher margins than we did before. Whereas this year, based upon what we knew before, I had margins coming in at 24%. If Tesla can go back up on prices, we might see closer to 30% margins by the end of the year. Where'd it go? Do you think Tesla can compete with AWS? That's actually something I think I talked to, who was it, Nick maybe? We were discussing that, and I do think so. I think that is something, especially with Dojo, that could definitely be on. Jay Lizard, could you turn on your TV to a movie so we can watch it when you go out for dinner? Well, I've got dinner here, but I can certainly watch it with you guys. Maybe I'll do that. What movie you want to watch? You let me know. It's funny. One of the guys I work with, he has a Twitch channel, and that's one of the things that he does with his audience is he has them all pick a movie, regardless of what it is. They watch it, and he'll just do commentary through it and discuss it. It's almost like a Mystery Science Theater 3000. So regardless of the movie, it's awesome. All right. Well, folks, that is it. I have had a very long week. I am exhausted. I am starving. I'm going to go enjoy this. Thank you all so much. From the bottom of my heart, you guys made this very stressful week very entertaining to end on. So thank you so much. Again, this weekend, I'm going to have 2 videos that should be coming out. One is going to be about gaps. The other one, I'm going to be trying something new. And the other video I'm going to be doing, I'm sending off to my marketing manager, and it's going to be my typical video I do for you guys at the end of the month for all of my income, investments, expenses, and all of that stuff. So when I have that out, I'm going to send it to him to edit it and see how it comes out. So you guys can give me some feedback on that when he has it all done, and then we'll go from there. So I don't think it's going to be out this weekend, but I should be having do I should be having at least I lose my train of thought. I should have at least out the gaps video this weekend. If there's any other news that comes out, I'll get another video out also for you guys. Maybe I'll do a quick recap on the EV tax credit stuff tomorrow for you guys as well. Otherwise, thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate all of you so much, and we will see you later.